Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Congregation Beth Yeshurun. It's a pleasure to have you with us, whether you're here in the Barg Sanctuary or join us from the comfort and warmth of your home this evening. We're honored to have you with us as we begin our Shabbat service with an opening nigun. I ask everyone to please rise as we recite the blessing for the candles. Page 4.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner, shel Shabbat.
And you may be seated. Peace to you, ministering angels, messengers of the Most High. Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, the middle of page 5.
Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem Shalom, Malchei Shalom, Malchei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We turn now to page 11, Lechuna Radana, Ladonai.
Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Ladonai. Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Betzur Yishenu, Bekadmach Banav Betovah. Naria, Naria, Betzur Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria lo. Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana, Ladonai. Lechuna Radana, Lechuna Radana,
earth shall be glad and the earth rejoice, the sea and its fullness roar. Yismachu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz. Page 14.
וישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. Yeramaya, 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 oh, Yeramaya, Yeramaya, oh, Yismech Hashamayim, Yismech Hashamayim, Yismech Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yeramaya, 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 oh, Yeramaya, Yeramaya, Yeramaya,
And now, synagogues throughout the world do. We now welcome the Sabbath bride with the words of Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, page 23.
Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala, Pnei Shabbat Mekabela. Shamor וזכור בניגון אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת, ולתהילה, ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. שמור וזכור בניגון אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת, ולתהילה, ולתהילה. לך we rise and face the door, פני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. אורי בן שלום נתנת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצורה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי כלה, בואי, בואי כלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה.
And you may be seated. And now we welcome the Sabbath bride, and now we give thanks to the Lord. And it is good to give thanks to you, Adonai, and to sing your name most high. Tov lehadot ladonai, page 27.
טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך עליון. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. טוב, טוב, טוב להודות, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר, ולזמר, ולזמר
take a moment, even in the most joyous of occasions as Jews, even on a Friday night. We've had a long week, a cold week. It's going to get colder. And we take a moment, even now, as we're so happy to save some room in our hearts for those in our community whose hearts are in pain tonight, those who have felt the loss of someone close to them. And to those of you who are those people who are in need of a little bit of comfort, to you we say, may God comfort you along with all the mourners in Zion and Jerusalem. If you are in mourning or if you are observing a yard site, I invite you to rise, to turn to page 30 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala v'izman kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei al-maya, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו Amen. Now I invite everyone to rise, to turn to page 39 for the Barg.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam
And you may be seated as we turn to page 40 for Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael, Amecha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limatta, Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu Eshach beinu v'eshach beinu v'tumeinu Nasiach, Nasiach, Nasiach lechukecha Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael, Beit Yisrael Amecha Ahavta Torah Chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limatta, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hei mechayenu ve'olech yameinu, u'vahem negei yomam v'layla, Tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch ata Adonai Ohei Amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Ve'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam לשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently with the paragraphs on page 42.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Who is like you, adorned in holiness, revered in praise, working wonders? Mi Chamocha, page 44. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you, God, watch over and deliver us, and you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Hashkivenu, page 45.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamidenu Malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeiteinu uloveinu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam. Ve'ad olam. Turn to page 46 for the Shamru. The Shamru in Israel et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. The Shamru in Israel et HaShabbat לעשות השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו ישראל את השבת, לעשות השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו ישראל את השבת, לעשות השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, אמן. וילמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי. בחייך וביומך ובחיי כל בית ישראל, הגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. הגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם עולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתגלה ויתהלל. שמי קודשה בריחו לעילם מכל בטחתם ושירתם ושבחדה ונחמדה לאמירן בעלמה. ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, אמן.
And we now pray silently, page 47 through page 52. And on page 50, we add the prayer for Rosh Chodesh, our new Jewish month.
51, join together. Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael alecha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael alecha, tasim leolam. Ki ata hu melech Aron, lecho hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Aron, lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael alecha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael alecha, tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל בשלום. Put your arms around each other. Let's join in. Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu. Shalom aleinu. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu. Shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom bimromav. Hu ya'aseh Shalom aleinu. Shalom aleinu. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Amen. Amen.
May you make peace in the heavens, make peace for us and for all Israel and for all humankind. And let us say, Amen. And now we offer a prayer for those in our community who are ill at this time, who need a refuah shlema, a complete healing of the mind, body, soul, and spirit, as the cantor leads us in a Misha Berach prayer.
Misha Berach avotenu, Kor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing for us and all of those we love. We shall beirach imotenu.
and you may be seated. And the cantor continues now on page 54, Kaddish Shalem.
Yigdal v'yitkadosh shemei Rabba, v'yalmad yivdach chilutei v'yamlik malchutei v'chayechon v'mechon v'chayducho beit Yisrael, v'agalav izman kariv, v'yimeru amen, yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitmarach, v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalem v'yitalal, shemei nekudesha berichu, le'elam mikol v'chadam v'shirata, Shvata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'yimeru, amen. Titgabel slotan v'auton echol Yisrael, kodam avon v'yishmaya v'yimeru, amen. Yesh lamar avamin shmaya, v'chayim aleinu al kol Yisrael v'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו Amen.
For the last several years, the month of February has been designated Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month. And tonight at Beth Yeshurun, to commemorate this all-important month, we have a very, very esteemed guest. It's my honor and pleasure to welcome our friend, Dr. Rex Marco, to Congregation Beth Yeshurun. And for those of you who don't know Dr. Marco, we're going to begin this evening by showing you a clip from one of our local news channels to tell you about Dr. Rex Marco and his story.
I couldn't really because it wasn't me.
But after an unthinkable accident about 6 months ago, it is now. The spine expert, Dr. Rex Marco, was riding his bike at Memorial Park. His tire got stuck. He flew over the handlebars and landed on his head. He couldn't feel people touching him or move his body, and he knew what that could mean.
I might be paralyzed and that it's possible that I could recover function, but it's also possible that I might not.
Knowing all that he knows about the possible injury that he was facing, Dr. Marco directed people in the park on how to stabilize his body as not to make his injury worse. Still, the nationally renowned spine surgeon is now a quadriplegic. Dr. Marco is focused on positivity and isn't dwelling on negative emotions, but he still has visions of some of the patients he's treated and the hardships that they face every day.
Think of myself as a quadriplegic and from that with those visions in mind, because I never really saw what happened to people long term.
But for every one of those, there are patients he's operated on that serve as an inspiration. 4 times a week, Dr. Marco is at Tier Memorial doing physical therapy, trying to regain the slightest movements in his body. Oftentimes, he's rehabbing next to patients that he's operated on.
My patients that I see here are an inspiration to me now because I see what they've been able to do in their recovery.
His road is long, but he's eager to get back to work with a new appreciation for the plight of the patients he sees every day.
Dr. Marco, it's an honor to have you with us at Beth Yeshurun. I see some of your friends here. I see Peter Rubenstein and Joy Pasoli and Jeff Lefkowitz, who I want to thank Jeff for making this connection. I know you've known Jeff also for a very long time through Little League Baseball, where your children would play on the same teams. Your sons have known each other for over 20 years.
They have.
So I know you know many people in our community, and it's quite an honor to have you with us this evening. So, Rex, let's talk a little bit first. Tell us about your life before that bike accident. What was it like at home and at work?
My life before the accident, I was a spine surgeon and a musculoskeletal oncologist. And a musculoskeletal oncologist takes care of patients with extremity and spine tumors. And a reconstructive spine surgeon fixes people that have really horrible spine problems. At home, I was mostly focusing on my recovery and my family's recovery, and doing activities with them, and that's what I was doing when I had my accident.
So tell us about the accident. What happened and how did you handle what was happening?
We were on a mountain bike ride with the group that we were in, and we had just ridden that trail, and we were going to ride it back. This time we were going to try and do it without touching our feet on the ground, and if we did, we were going to do push-ups. And I didn't mind doing push-ups, but I didn't want to touch my feet on the ground. And so the trail, I saw that most of the group had gone right, and I saw a branch there that I didn't want to go over, so I turned left. And at the bottom of that turn, my tire got stuck, and I flew over the handlebars, I think. And the next thing I knew is I heard a crack, and I thought it was my helmet, but then I thought it also could have been my neck. I had no pain. I couldn't tell if I could move, but I knew I was just waiting there until someone came. I didn't think that I was probably not moving, but I knew it was possible. And when my friend finally came, I asked him if he could touch my leg, and he said he was. And then I asked him if I was moving it, and he said I wasn't. And at that point, I knew that the crack was probably my neck and that I was probably a quadriplegic.
Were you able to tell the paramedics what to do and how to handle it, and what was going through your mind at that time?
Mostly that I knew that I would be okay, and I knew that I was breathing, and with breath I could find peace, and I knew that even though I may not be able to hold my son, my newborn son, I knew that there was a plan, and that was part of it, and I knew I was going to get out of there. They were trying to follow protocol, and I knew that protocol wouldn't help me because I was stuck in a really precarious position. It felt like I was sliding down a hill, and my friend was slipping, and he couldn't hold me up much longer. I think protocol is to take your vitals and put you in a collar and then move you, but I knew there was no way that was going to be possible in that situation. So I asked the girls in the group to stabilize my neck and have everyone just pull me up, which I knew is safe, and it got me up into a place where the paramedics could get me out then.
So Rex, I know you're a very spiritual person. You and I have spoken before, and I've seen other interviews with you. Tell us, how has your incredible faith helped you get through this?
It's been everything for me. Before recovery and spiritual healing, I was living life on my own will, and after getting into recovery, I realized that my will it got me things in life, but they weren't the things that mattered. And once I realized that the things in life that matter are not things, and that God's will is the only will I need to follow, I found a lot more peace. I found peace, actually. I realized I never had peace before that. And following God's will and has gotten me through a lot of tough times in life before my accident, and it's helping me get through these times, which this has been the toughest thing to get through. And at the same time, it hasn't been tough because I know there's a plan, and I know that this is part of the plan, helping people find a will outside of their own, find presence and awareness and mindfulness and peace without things, hearing that message. And if I lead one person to seek that way of life, then I know that my life is a success.
In Judaism, peace, the word for peace is shalom, which I'm sure you've heard before, and it also means wholeness and fullness, feeling a sense of wholeness in this world, completeness. And to hear you say that you found shalom after this is, I think, very important for so many of us to hear. All of us who are dealing with some challenges, all of us deal with challenges, some greater than others. But to hear you say that, I have to tell you, is extremely inspiring. And you mentioned something, you've discovered what's really important in life after the accident. What are those things?
I really think I found them before the accident, but the things in life that are the biggest thing I think that is important is love. And I would say that I send these little emojis, and the people that I know that are spiritual, I put the prayer sign followed by the peace sign and the heart sign and the happiness sign. And with prayer and meditation, I find peace and love and moments of happiness. And when I have all four of those things, I know that I have joy. And I realized that before my accident, and I had no idea that all of those things and finding those things would allow me to have peace and love and happiness and joy as a quadriplegic. I think most people would, including myself, would say that's one thing that they would never want to have happen to them. And it's certainly not something that I wished for myself. But thankfully and gratefully, I had those things before I had my accident. That, combined with doing my best to live a honest and principle-based life, has brought me a tremendous amount of joy and gratitude, excitement for life, even after the accident. I think sometimes I didn't realize what a principle-based life was, but now I know that with honesty and hope and faith and courage, integrity, willingness and humility, love, responsibility, perseverance, spiritual healing and service, I know that with those principles and prayer and meditation and living outside of my will and living in God's will, combined with love, then I have everything I need to have a fulfilling life.
And I have to say, you're not someone who just talks the talk, but you actually are going out there and doing incredible, incredible things. I'm going to embarrass you, but not only are you an extremely dedicated father, a good friend, a good brother, and your sister's here this evening, and you bring a lot of love into this world, but you're also still volunteering, and you've made this incredible contribution to the Christopher Reeves Foundation. Tell us what, it'd be easy just to be concerned about yourself, to say, you know what, I've got my own challenge now, I've got to deal with this, but it sounds like you're doing even more to help people. What gives you that inspiration?
That's a great question. I believe it's God. Yeah.
It's God's plan.
Yeah.
So Rex, let me ask you, this is, as I mentioned earlier, this is the month in which Jewish synagogues, Jewish organizations throughout North America talk about what we can do to help people and to make people feel more welcome who have disabilities. We always need to do more. How have you been treated differently since the accident?
Yes, I've had moments of prejudice that I've never experienced in my life. And I am a minority, but I never really saw myself as a minority, and I was never treated differently because of that. And when I got out of the hospital and was in my apartment, I was trying to get down to the first floor, and I couldn't find an elevator, and I asked the lady that worked there to help me find the elevator, and she looked at me with a very disdainful look, and I made up it was because I was in a wheelchair. I guess it could have been something else. Maybe she was having a bad day. But it is different. We took a taxi cab, and this person who was another minority started yelling at us. Told us that did we want to pull over and I could let you out right here, and it was raining and cold, and things like that never happened before my injury. And I don't know if it's because I'm in a wheelchair that they're treating me differently, but I do know that the research shows that women and African Americans and other minority groups have made strides in the amount of prejudice towards them, directed towards them, but people with disabilities have not, and elderly people have not. And so I think bringing awareness to that in a loving and kind way will help us improve that situation. I don't believe in violence or taking out anger or rage in a harmful way. But I think with peaceful, loving awareness, there may be a shift and improvements throughout all wakes of life and people, and a life without as much prejudice and harm will exist.
We say in Judaism, B'ezrat Hashem, with the help of God. I hope your words come true, and I think you in particular will help a lot of us throughout the world. Your story and how you articulate what happened and what you've been through, you're going to be a big part of that. So I want to share with you a couple quotes to end our discussion this evening. Carl Josehart, who's the CEO of Jewish Family Service, recently wrote, "I've been thinking a lot about the difference between accommodation and inclusion. When we think of differences between people as being disabilities, we tend to focus on accommodating someone who is seen as not functioning normally. When we accept the full range of human differences as normal and natural, then we shift our focus to creating environments that work for everyone. Can we strive to do more than accommodate? Instead, can we be reaching for full inclusion for everyone across the spectrum of human experience? Can we begin to see the difference between us as unique and powerful assets that can be leveraged to make us better, stronger, and more successful?" Dr. Oliver Sacks expressed this vision when he wrote, "I wish for a world that views disability, mental or physical, not as a hindrance, but as unique attributes that can be seen as powerful assets if given the right opportunities." Neil Milliken challenges us, focus not on the differences of people with disabilities, but the talent of the individual. Rex, what advice would you give us to help make that vision a reality?
Those are really wonderful quotes, and they're very powerful. And that's a great question. I would say really take those words to heart and look at all of us for what we can do and not what we look like. I know Jeff and I were just talking about some kids that we knew that had disabilities, and we didn't really know how to treat them. And I know myself, I didn't talk to them, I didn't approach them, I didn't touch them or hug them. I didn't see them for who they are as their parents did. And I think if we all try to see each other as children of God and love each other and treat each other with kindness, and we won't see the differences that may be present.
Well said. And I pray that we can all get there. Let me end by, if you don't mind, tell us some of the things you're involved in, some of your plans. What's in store for Dr. Rex Marco in the years ahead?
One of my main focuses is with the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, and we are doing our best to raise money to support research for spinal cord injury, as well as on the public side, we get federal funding for a paralysis resource center for anybody with any kind of paralysis like stroke or CP or ALS or spinal cord injury or many numerous other injuries or conditions. And that resource center provides access to patients and families and caregivers to help them have a better way of life, which is what Dana Reeve's vision was. We're also active in advocacy, meeting with congressmen and senators on the Hill and at the capitals, and working to make that vision of those quotes that you talked about come true. And additionally, we have support in a mentor fashion where families and patients can contact us, and we can provide them with a peer mentor. I am really wanting to get back to clinical medicine as well, and hoping to work out a contract with Houston Methodist Hospital, which is where I worked before. I'm actively teaching the spine fellows and residents about the indications for surgery and the different things that I learned throughout the years. I want to try to pass that on and continue to pass that on. One thing that I knew I would want to try and do, and I'm confident is part of God's plan, is to introduce mindfulness and being in the present moment, awareness, and through mindfulness meditation, I'm in the process of getting a teacher certification. It's a 2-year program to learn how to teach people how to be more mindful and present and aware of the present moment rather than thinking about the future or the past.
You are busy. Let me tell you, you are doing God's work, and continued blessings for you. We thank you for all you're doing and for all the people you're going to help for many, many years ahead. Know you always have a place here at Beth Yeshurun. You're always welcome. And thank you, Dr. Marco, for joining us this evening. It's been a real honor and privilege for all of us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
And now we'll continue with our service, and I ask everyone to please rise for the Elenu, page 56. Thank you very much.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, מושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אינו, אמת מלכנו וזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, ידעת היום וידעת היום, השבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת העינות. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We now invite all those in mourning and all those observing a yahrzeit to remain standing for the words of the mourner's Kaddish. And this week at Beth Yeshurun, we offer condolences to the families of Estelle Jucker, Leon Baxt, Louis Farber, and Rabbi Dr. Gerald Teller. Page 58. Yitgadal v'yikara shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach yirteh v'yalmech malchuteh. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh dekol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kari v'yamru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam omea maya. Yitbarak, V'yishtabach, Pichba'ar, V'yitraman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei de Kudushat, Barichu, Le'ela min kol berkata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiram v'yama v'yimru, Amen. Yehi shlam barabba min Shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. So we have 2 anniversaries to celebrate this evening. First, celebrating their 34th wedding anniversary, Sarah Ellen and Hugh Kaiser. Mazel tov. And Sarah and Hugh, you're celebrating your Earl Campbell, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Nolan Ryan 34th anniversary. And this past year, you got to babysit your grand dogs in Austin, so Adam and Emily, your son and daughter-in-law, could go visit her parents. And I know that was a lot of fun. And I have to say, Sarah, we are so honored to have you, and it's been great having you at Beth Yeshurun as our B'nai Mitzvah coordinator. You're doing a wonderful job. And Sarah and Hugh, we wish you only blessings for many years to come. Happy 34th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov. And celebrating their 46th wedding anniversary, Cheryl and Les Wolf. Cheryl and Les, you're grateful to have been able to receive the vaccination, and you pray for yourselves, your children, and grandchildren for many more healthy and happy years ahead. And we do as well. We look forward to seeing you soon. And may God continue to bless you as you celebrate your 46th wedding anniversary. Mazel tov. And mazel tov again to both our couples. Just a few announcements I wanted to share with you. Next Friday night, we had planned to go outside, but we already know this next week's going to be a very cold one of the coldest in decades. And so we've already decided next Friday night we'll be back inside for our normal Shabbat renewal service, and we'd love to see you. We are now welcoming 40 people. In the month of March, we're going to be going up to 60 people. There's still plenty of room to spread out. We wear our masks. We feel very safe here, and we'd love to see you. All you need to do is register on our website, and if you don't feel comfortable yet, that's okay. Please watch us as we continue to work through this pandemic, and we look forward to the day when we're all together again in our sanctuaries. This Sunday, our community will be celebrating our virtual Yom Limud, our virtual day of study. You can find more information on our Federation website. We're partnering with the Jewish Family Service in a great program called Pekuach Nefesh, mental health training, created specifically for our Jewish community to help us all recognize signs of distress and how we can watch out and help others. Look for more information on our website. Our Grand Friends, Grandkids program, Making Memories, continues on February 21st. And Rabbi Fort on Tuesday, February 23rd, as we continue the Jewish Disability Awareness, Acceptance, and Inclusion Month, we'll be teaching on B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God, an important class to remind us all that we accept, include, value, and respect, and find the divine in all people. And of course, our Go Texans Purim event. Just like we did for Hanukkah, we'll have a drive-through event. Our incredible staff, led by Jennifer Rosenzweig, and our programming department has a lot of great things planned. That'll be Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock on Purim, February 26th. Just go to our website to register. And finally, don't forget, on Sunday, March 7th, our spring virtual concert entitled Tikva, Our Hope, where Kenner Finkelstein, along with many special guests, will be performing for all of us on Sunday, March 7th. So now we're ready to bring our service to a close. For all of our sons that are watching us, we say, Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'ke'Menashe. May God bless you like Ephraim and Menashe and all the good sons of our tradition. And for our girls, we say, Yesimech Elohim ke'Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah. May God bless you like Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah. And may God continue to bless all of our children with peace. And let us say, Amen. And again, I want to thank all the hardworking members of our Inclusion Committee. I see Richard Cameron here this evening, and all the wonderful members that do so much to make all members of Beth Yeshurun feel included. And again, I want to thank Dr. Rex Marco for being here this evening. It's been a true pleasure, and we look forward and hope to see you again soon. We now ask everyone to please rise for the Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen, ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, יהיו יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, הבנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת 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 שלום.
Good Shabbos, everyone.